I'm just here with some family friends of mine. Get started. Alright. There are about 195 countries around the globe, but this one stands out to me the most. With its historical significance and cultural acceptance, this country is known as Egypt, and it has roughly 6,000 years of history to its name. The Egyptian culture is rich in ancient traditions, historical achievements, such as the Great Pyramids, and many more modern advancements. But today, I'm going to be giving you a culture briefing about the business aspect. But those were just some interesting facts about Egypt, and today I'll be talking about the business aspect of Egypt culture. 3 main points I want to discuss are the meeting etiquette, like what goes on inside of a meeting space, time and space, just in general in the business area, and the business cards. Let's get into the first point, meeting etiquette in Egypt. When researching the business aspect of Egypt, I was delighted with the information on how tough negotiators they are and how they run their meetings, as well as how they handle them. They handle them a little bit differently than I thought. These meetings usually start with the host serving some sort of tea or coffee, which creates trust and confidence, and then just like an icebreaker overall to get the conversations going. Most meetings tend to have an open door relationship, meaning that anyone is allowed to join the meeting unless it's confidential, like governmental or anything. Egyptians also value hierarchy, so the older you are, the more important you are. So it's important to always be respectful to the most senior person in the room, as they're most likely the company spokesperson. I found this information through cultureatlas.sbs.com. We can now move on to the second topic of time and space. In Egypt, they run as a polychronic society, meaning that they prioritize relationships over meetings. This is very interesting because I feel like in America, we make meetings mandatory over relationships, just from my experience. But Egyptians are very flexible when it comes to schedules and understand that meetings can start later than planned, but foreigners are expected to be on time, while it's acceptable for Egyptians to arrive 10 to 30 minutes late. One cool thing about Egyptians is that interruptions are common and aren't seen as rude, like phone calls aren't seen as rude or interrupting the speaker to get their point out. The deadlines and meeting times are meant to be seen as guidelines rather than strict rules, so they're very lenient when it comes to that stuff. In Egypt culture, it is normal to have a closer personal space, as they'll see this as a better way to connect and have relationships with other people in their workplace. Things like standing closer and interacting and talking make them feel comfortable and a sign of engagement, not intrusion. Backing away from the speaker during a conversation is seen as unfriendly and rude, as this can just give off a bad vibe, if you know what I'm saying. Lastly, I'll be talking to you about the business cards in Egypt. Business cards are very common and a great way to get your business and word out. Business card etiquette is something that they are really strict about in Egypt because it's a great way to network and connect with other people. Making sure that there is a professional exchange is so detrimental when it happens in Egypt. Exchanging them with the right hand, slowly examining it before putting it away upon receiving the card and putting it directly away is rude and untrustworthy, some seem. Instead, receiving the card, examine it, and then possibly pose a question about the business that you might have. This is considered polite and welcoming, and then helps join ideas. Maintaining personal space during this type of interaction is important because it shows respect and dignity. I found this information through internationalbusinessetiquette.com. And to conclude my culture briefing, when it comes to business or a professional setting, after my research, I can now see that countries treat it differently. It is important to understand other countries' business practices so that business professionals know how to interact with them during the meetings and such other things. Not knowing practice can result in conflict or unsettled agreements, and then just overall learning how different countries work outside of just food, their practices, and other traditions, like their language too. It's just beneficial to just know how they practice each and everything that they do, that like in a business area as well. Thank you guys for listening and being here for this.